Zero. Welcome to another CEO Wisdom Pod. We have Jana Bader with us today. Jana is an advisor at The Bench. She's also a director and a board member, Newstead Connect. She's usually in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, but today she is in Dubai. And yeah, she also is a managing partner at Brand Inc., Virtual.io, and a founder at Supreme Hospitality, Saudi Arabia. So you're going to have fun today. This pod is brought to you by podpair.com. If you want to start or monetize your podcast, go to podpair.com. It is also brought to you by our friends at Qual Your Mind. If you want to optimize focus, memory, and drive as a busy entrepreneur, go to neurohacker.com/CEO wisdom. Jana, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself. What you're up to nowadays?
Thank you. I definitely like to take the pills that you just showcased. I think I need much of that. First of all, thank you for having me today. I'm very excited to be with you. And yeah, everything you've mentioned is correct. I do lead a busy life, but at the same time, excited to be here with you today. And I'd love to hear your questions and try to add value to it.
So what are you up to today? How do you split your days? What are you focused on?
That's a good question. So I'm a wife. I have 3 kids. My husband is a diplomat as well. So we have a lot of events for the embassy. And I also run the businesses. I'm between Saudi and Dubai most of the time. However, the businesses that I run are in different sectors. So you have something within the hospitality investment scene, which is the bench. And then you have project controls and project management, which is Newstead. And then you have Brand Inc., which is branding, concept design, etc. And then you have others that are also kind of along the side of trading. So how do I split my day? To be honest, I am the most unpredictable person. I do not manage my time. I'm not that person that knows, wakes up at 5 a.m. and has a perfect kind of day to it, because things happen all the time. And I think sticking to the plan is the ultimate plan to failure. So no, my day goes according to the flow. I try to work as much as I can, but I also do give time to the kids and the family, etc. So just prioritizing the ones you love. This is something that we've learned from COVID. While at the same time understanding who to give the jobs to that you trust will do the work upon your supervision. So yeah.
Right. And what's new in Saudi? Yesterday, I was reading about the Jeddah Tower. I was reading extensively in the past year about NEOM, the Red Sea project. What's developing and what's growing in Saudi?
Thank you for that question. Well, listen, Saudi has changed dramatically. And if it's not just for the females, it's honestly for everybody in Saudi Arabia. Just to give you a recap, when I'm 37 years old today, and when I was in school, I used to go covered from head to toe to school with my abai. And fast forward to where we are today, I own a business, I run my companies, I drop the kids to school, I wear what I think is appropriate within the customs, I can drive my own car. And I am capable and able to develop whichever way possible to make me empowered and to make me an important part of the culture and of the economy diversification as well. So where Saudi was and where it is today is a dramatic change, and really all due to the Crown Prince, his vision, his motivation, his futuristic innovation kind of look out at things. In terms of the projects in Saudi, yes, it is blooming. It's a gold rush right now. So there are multiple projects happening now in Saudi, spanning from DGDA, which is the Dir'iyya project. And of course, you have the NEOM project, which is worldwide right now. And then you have the Red Sea project as well, which is, again, in the hospitality and tourism sector. You have a lot happening in Medina and Mecca region, which is the Islamic pilgrimage kind of tourism, or as they call it, religious tourism. And then you have the other provinces as well developing way past the tourism and hospitality sector. Now, Saudi has about 15 provinces altogether, and each one of them has different weather, different agriculture, different elements from A to Z, whether it's food, whether it's tourism, whether it's hiking and sports and activities. So you're talking about a country that has just recently discovered its own gems and is very open and welcoming to the world. So it's really beautiful what's happening.
Right, and the government is also diversifying its portfolio. We've seen Live Golf as well. What were your thoughts on that move from the government?
There's a lot of changes happening within the government in ways that they are involving entertainment, they're involving sports, they're involving music, they're involving film festivals. So in terms of the diversifications of sectors, it is going above and beyond. There isn't any sector that right now Saudi is not focusing on, which is nice. We are leading a lot more into the tourism, hospitality sector than anything else, but real estate has been booming as well. And of course, the sports authority is also taking its toll.
And now, personally, on your side, with Supreme Hospitality Saudi Arabia, how have you benefited from these increased investments from the government?
That's also a good question. So currently what's happening is that Saudi is trying to get as many investors as possible, but it is also taking care of the local community. So me as a local, I have a trading license. If a company coming from outside that wants to open a trading license in Saudi, they'll have to pay millions just to open and operate that license. Whereas me as a Saudi, I pay nothing compared to that. So what tends to happen is that the international companies try to find Saudi and local partners to get into the market through, and that way they can increase their budget, they have a better projection towards the future, and they understand the market capacity of their product. So it is a really nice balance towards, okay, investors can come in, but also we need to support the local community and finding that right partnership.
What about the conferences happening in Saudi and in Riyadh? For example, the Future Hospitality Summit that's coming there. Is it trying to be like one of the hubs when it comes to modern and exciting conferences?
Absolutely. So Saudi is running at, I would say, 60 events every month, not less, which is crazy. But it is very comparable to Dubai about 15 years ago when it went supersonic on events, exhibitions, and conferences. However, to me personally, and a personal opinion on this matter, FHS specifically is very tender because it does drive the force behind the CEOs and the investors and the very elites of this community, which gets them together at a 3-day conference happening once in Saudi and once in Dubai. So it is very much focused on just the elite decision makers of the hospitality, real estate, and investment, as well as aviation community.
How would Saudi distinguish itself from Dubai, for example?
I love this question. And you know what? We do suffer from a big problem that I have to talk about on this podcast, which is I call it the Dubai issue. So Dubai is beautiful. What it did was incredible, building itself up from the ground in about 15 years. It went from desert to completely, the futuristic, picture perfect city, which absolutely it is. But also Dubai focused on getting a lot of foreign professionals to build the city, which is great because we saw that and it worked beautifully with Dubai, and well done on their side is doing completely different. So it is, I think, unfair to compete or compare the both of those markets. First of all, Saudi has about 35 million in comparison to the UAE has a lot less local community. So what Saudi is trying to do is that it's trying to get those foreigners to teach the locals how to get it done, and then give the power to the locals to move the community forward. Now, Dubai, on the other side, was excellent at getting all of those expats and building it and building the city or the country from the ground up with the support of the locals. So they both, I think, completely had different experiences and different learnings. But I see them as a completely competitive, but completely also complementary to each other.
What about digital nomads or ex-digital nomads like myself that would like to buy something at the NEOM project? Do you think that would be a good investment in terms of real estate?
Absolutely, dude. If you have money, I mean, I don't think you should think twice. You have NEOM, which is doing amazing. You have my favorite is the Red Sea project. And I'm happy to get you personally in touch with the people that are taking care of that project and selling unbelievably beautiful projects, units there at the Red Sea. So I'm a big fan of it. I think it's a great project. It is going forward, and they are completing their projects on time. So that's always a good sign.
And the advantage of getting there would be, I guess, a bit more freedom, a bit less taxation, and being part of a new community that's technology and progress focused. I don't think we can find that in many other spots in the world. Maybe Dubai, but I guess that would be the interest.
That's an interesting comment. So that whole area that Saudi is trying to develop has not been touched before. So to me, it is more of a virgin beauty. It's something, it's a treasure that nobody in the world saw, including us, the locals. So I have never been to NEOM. Actually, I still have not been to NEOM. None of us have been able to be, these areas were not accessible for the locals. So it's not just that these areas are becoming accessible to the locals, but they are also building them up to be at, the top of the top of the international community, which is, I think, to me, is going to be a beautiful ecosystem between the locals and the internationals coming to just find this piece of land that has not been untouched, that has been untouched, and enjoy the coral life of it.
Love it. What are your top goals for this year on your side?
My top goals, I love that. And I was speaking about this yesterday. I have a big issue with delegating work. And I think all entrepreneurs probably have the same issue. And so I am definitely trying to work on trusting people to do what I can do, and just delegating and be okay that somebody else can handle the things that I need them to handle. So yeah, definitely working on my delegation skills.
What habits are you working on to improve productivity and well-being?
That's a good one. I think I'd like to be more organized. I am definitely not an organized person. I travel a lot, so I want to do a little less of that, and a lot more focusing on just ourselves. I think there's not enough time in the day where at the end of the day we always feel like we need to push ourselves harder. And then once every 6 months, you get that burnout state and you feel depressed and you feel like, oh my God, have I done enough? Have I not done enough? Maybe I've done more than enough. Should I take a break? Should I not take a break? What's happening with my life? And you feel like things are crumbling down. But then I think we really have to have a breather and remember that nothing is as important as health and family. And no matter how much money you make at the end of the day, that's not gonna save you from, being depressed or whatever it is. No, money doesn't buy happiness. That's 100% true. But what buys happiness is honestly waking up to a healthy body and loved ones around you.
Love that. Any lessons for founders, having founded a couple of businesses yourself, what would you advise young founders?
So with all the businesses that I'm running, I have to say I have failed 1,000 times. I've heard you cannot do it 1,000 times, and I'm sure most of the entrepreneurs have felt that. I've second doubted myself a lot, although I know deep down I'm smart enough to get things done. But I realized that the worst enemy that you can have that will push you away from your goal is yourself and nobody else around you. So it's yourself that can either open the door and go for it and don't be scared. And don't be scared is a big one, by the way, because fear is often in our heads. and it actually never materializes. So whatever you're actually scared of, most of the time does not happen, and it's just a fear, and you're just not going to go for it because there is a fear in your head. But I found that most of the entrepreneurs that are doing great, and I've learned for them, are the ones that just release that fear factor. They don't have it, and they tell me, Jana, when the problem occurs, deal with it. If the problem is not there, let it go. And I've adapted that, and I swear to God, it actually works. So I started not to worry about something until, sorry to say, shit really hits the fan, and then I actually have to deal with it. But until then, the problem is not there. If it's not physical, it is not there. So yeah, don't be scared and go for it.
Any tips for prospecting and doing business in the Middle East?
Yes, if you think you know Dubai, then you definitely don't know Saudi. This has to be my biggest advice ever. And with all the respect to all the consultants out there, they're my very good friends, and I have lots of connections in all the big companies that are consultants. But when you hear someone saying, I have 15 years of experience in Dubai, that does not equal to a single day of experience in Saudi. They are completely different mindsets, completely different markets, completely different needs. And then do not go by the statistics of numbers. So please, if you are doing any market research on the Saudi market, understand what's behind the numbers, understand the psychology, understand the emotional intelligence of the market that you're looking at, and go there, live there, eat with them, pray with them, visit them, talk to them, because it is a country that completely changed in 5 years. I mean, what was there 5 years ago is a completely different country than what is now. And the reason of the change is a lot. The way people are taking on that change is a lot, and the history behind that change and the future to it is a lot to take in. So it is definitely not something that someone can sell you at 500 pages of a research, that a market research company can sell you. It is not that. Don't fall for it, please. It is not your usual market. And yeah, it's completely new. And really, there's no country in the world that has been through what Saudi's been through. So there is no expectation or history or statistics to back anything up.
There's also been lots of conflicts in the Middle East. Recently, Afghanistan reoccupied by Taliban, Palestine and Israel. Is what do you have to say on Saudi intervening in this and potentially making the situation better there?
So this opinion is completely myself. I'm not speaking on behalf of any governments in any way, shape, or form. But to me, Saudi is now fully focused on its people. It's fully focused on moving the country forward, regardless of what happens around the world. Things are happening left, right, and center in the Middle East since I was born. So these conflicts are not new to us. They've been there for 75 years or even more. And so to have a stance or to actually have a direct interaction with this issue or the issues that are happening there is never the interest of any of the countries in the Middle East. And especially to me in Saudi in this case, because we've tried so hard to build ourselves up from the ground, and the work that we've done for the past couple of years, the progress that we are going towards, and the futuristic goals that we have in mind, I think that has to be the top thought in the Crown Prince's mind. And I support that 100%. Although, by the way, I'm half Palestinian, just to let you know. So this issue is very, very personal to me. My dad's Saudi, my mom's Palestinian. So it is a personal issue to me. But at the end of the day, I am a logical person. And there is a country that, Saudi has to run, and it will have to run it regardless.
Is Saudi distinguish it itself in terms of immigration? Like, is it welcoming when it comes to other inhabitants that may be seeking refuge there?
I'm actually not sure what the situation is with generally with immigrants. However, in terms of Saudis themselves, they are, and I have to say, the most hospitable people on earth. If you go to Saudi, I will bet you money that you will not pay for your food the time that you are there, because they are that hospitable, and they will get you to their houses no matter where you are, who you are. what you are, they will be the most hospitable people. So whoever is listening to this podcast, please try and pay Saudi a visit. I'll personally tell you where to go, what to eat, and who to talk to. And I bet it will be one of the best experiences you've had.
Last but not least, AI is taking the world by storm. How is Saudi making sure to be part of that race?
I love that. So most of the community in Saudi is actually between the ages of 20 and 35. And so this generation is very, very, very tech savvy. And I think especially during the pandemic, Saudi was one of the countries that totally took control over the situation. And I have to say, I'm very happy that I was stuck there during the pandemic. We had one application, just one application that monitored every single aspect of our lives in terms of certifications and vaccines and where we are, where we're going, who's, how many members of the family there are, our passports, where we've traveled within the past 15 years, my license, my accounts, my bank accounts, all in one single app. So they were able to monitor the 35 million people with one single app that we are still using, by the way. And so in terms of technology and Saudi, I think it's booming 100%. And it's one of the biggest sectors to look out for. So if you are into the tech, SaaS, etc. Kind of sectors, then Saudi is definitely a place you'd want to engage in.
Where can people find out more about you?
Oh, LinkedIn all the way. I'm a big LinkedIn fan. And I think that's where you found me as well. I'm happy to connect to anyone at any time.
All right. So Jana Bader on LinkedIn.